everybody, it's Chris the PDX Picker. Welcome back to the little shop of hoarders. Got some orders to pull for me that sold on eBay and Poshmark. I am back from vacation. I am feeling much less burnt out, so that is great and exciting because I really need to start making some extra money. I am motivated to really start paying off some debt in my personal life, and I think this is really the best way to do it, is to get out here in the little shop of hoarders. List, sell, sell. But before we do that, I gotta pull some orders that have sold for me and ship them out. So stick around after the intro song, we'll get to doing that.
Wanna buy that Farrah Fawcett poster? There's dispensers and a toaster. Don't know why. That kind of stuff you throw away. I'll sell on eBay.
A couple of videos ago, I was talking about how burnt out I was, and I think it's really just because I hadn't taken any time off from my eBay business since, I think, almost 10 months ago. Maybe 9 months ago, something like that. Back when I went to Hawaii, there were a few times where I took maybe a weekend off or two, but nothing long. So I took 9 days off from eBay, and it was good. I might even really have needed to take more because I'm still not 100% refreshed and ready to go in full bore into this. I've listed a few things today, but I'm just still not 100% gung-ho like I really want to be. But I'm a lot better than I was a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to work through this. I don't know if any of you have ever felt this way. I'm pretty sure you have. So comment below. What tips, tricks, and things have you done to help get through some of these low periods where you just don't feel quite as motivated as you would like to be? Anyway, let's start pulling some orders. Let's pull the Poshmark orders first. I have 3 of them that sold, which is really good for Poshmark because when you close your store on vacation mode or put your store on vacation mode, you can't have any sales on Poshmark. So the fact that I have 3, just since I turned it back on a couple of days ago, is really good. So let's start pulling those orders first. Almost all these are for the same dollar amount, which is just coincidental. These shoes have been listed, I looked on eBay, for 250 days. I kind of forgot about them. At first, when I saw the offer, I should say, come in, it seemed a little low. But then when I saw how long they had been listed on eBay, I was definitely excited to accept the offer. Cosmetically, these shoes are in really good condition. They are some Brooks Adrenaline 21s. Get a good, decent look on there. When I bought them, it was primarily because of how good of a condition, or cosmetic condition they are, and I paid $10 for these. But they're missing insoles, which they do sell, and I've mentioned in the past, a lot of runners like to put their own insoles in, so especially for running shoes, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it does make them sell slower. Those sold for $35, plus shipping on Poshmark, but I think it's a little, I believe we're at, I can't remember if Adrenaline 21, for example, means it's from 2021. I don't know what the naming is on that, but if it is from 2021, to sell some 4-year-old shoes is not too bad. These sold. I actually got these for free from my gym. Somebody brought in a whole bunch of their older shoes that they didn't want anymore. Said, take any or as many as you want, and I picked these, and I think maybe one more, but I can't remember. But for sure I picked these. These are some Nike wedges. They are specifically called the Dunk Sky High wedges. Maybe from 2012, but I think they make a similar model still. Those also sold for $35 plus shipping. Really good condition, hardly worn. I don't even think I did anything to clean these up. So it's kind of a no-brainer to pick them up, especially for free. And took maybe, 2 months or so to sell. Not bad at all. And then this, I felt very fortunate and lucky to have found this at my favorite thrift store a few months back. It took me a while to list it, and then when I did, it didn't take too long to sell. There's a breakable item underneath it, so I'm trying to pull it out without breaking that, and I succeeded. Right here we have a Lululemon Adventurer tote. Adventurer. Paid $8, $7.99 for this. Pretty good condition. Just not a lot of them for sale, or not a lot of them have sold. but that sold for $30 plus shipping. So we've got exactly $100 of sales on Poshmark, which is really good. I need all the extra help I can get in terms of sales when you're gone or your store is turned off for 9-10 days like it was. Even though I did allow sales on eBay, August is starting off, not surprisingly, a little slow. That's okay. We are going to get it turned around. We're going to list, sell, sell to the best of our ability. I really need to sell, or to list, I should say. Dumb. I say dumb. It's not dumb. I am dumb for not listing it. My Super Nintendo. Alright. Eagle Eye 3, Eagle Eye 2. I don't know which ones sold, so I'm going to bring them both over. I sold a wholesale lot of pocket knives. This was the first thing that sold for me while I was on vacation. Eagle Eye 3. So must have sold both of the boxes because there are 12 of them. And I sold those for $22.49, free shipping. They're heavy. It's not going to be a huge moneymaker, but I got those in the storage unit auction from way back in the day. Another sale from Pocket 3. This is a lot of, or big bundle of money from the board game Hotels by Milton Bradley. Bought that at the Goodwill outlet, hoping that it was complete because that's a very valuable board game, but it wasn't. It wasn't complete at all. Probably paid about $5, $4-ish for the board game. The money alone sold for $20 free shipping. I do have a lot of buildings, like little plastic or paper cardboard buildings, also hopefully to sell, but no bites on that one yet, but the money did sell, so I've already hit a profit for that. A couple of low-ish dollar women's shoe sales. Start off with this pair of Nike Torch 3 shoes. Don't remember where I got these, but these are in really good condition, even though they're relatively old. Those sold for $15 plus shipping. They do have some wear on the paint in the back. I don't know if that's focusing or not. So that definitely contributed to a lower sales amount. And then these, it's one of those where you just get in a mode. I was at a thrift store. I saw these for sale. I looked at brand, price, and condition. And I forgot the fourth leg of the stool, which is sell-through rate. So these were Merrell hiking shoes, hiking boots, women's hiking shoes. They were $10 and in really, really good condition. The model is the Accentor 3. Sell-through rate on these is just not good, but I did sell them for $18 plus shipping. So I made a profit. Not a very big one, though. So like I said, I forgot the fourth pillar of the stool, the fourth leg of the stool. It is so hot out here the past couple of days. It's hot and it is gross. It's gross out. But right now the big issue, and I hope that things will turn out well, is we have a big fire that just started about 2 or 3 miles away from the house. And it's fire season with it being so hot out. It's 100 degrees. Yeah, a big, huge fire just broke. Oh, it's so gross out here. But I looked out the window, I think it's actually getting better. The smoke plume was just huge and black and dark. I don't know how well this is going to come through. You can see it off in the distance, right there. All that dark black smoke. It's about 3 miles away, based off of the app that we have that shows when emergencies happen. And we all are very nervous in this area whenever there are fires that break out, especially at this time of the year, with it being this hot, because we had 5 years back, some horrific wildfires in the area. Everyone had to evacuate. Not everyone, but a lot of people had to evacuate their homes because the imminent threat of fire danger was that bad that they needed to evacuate. I was actually right when we were moving into this house. So we had purchased the house, we were closing on it, and we were afraid our brand new house was gonna burn down. So obviously that didn't happen, thankfully, but it was very scary and not a fun time. So we are just extra leery whenever anything like this new fire that's sprung up or anything like that happens. And I found this at a church rummage sale a while back. I thought it was a no-brainer. It still turned out okay, but I don't understand why. I guess it's maybe a little bit due to the economy. I don't know. I paid $10 for this. Brand new in the package, Berry Baby Orange Blossom Strawberry Shortcake figure from the 80s. Got a Toys R Us price tag on the top, $5.97. Took a long time to sell, and it was on sale for 50% off, and then somebody offered me $21. I originally had it listed for $50. There were a few comps in that neighborhood. It was listed for a long time, wasn't my 50% off, and then somebody sent me an offer for $21. So frustrating that happened, that it sold for so little. I almost tripped and fell. I sold 2 different lots of magazines. We'll start with the first one. Picked these up for about $5 at an estate sale. I've got, I think, how many of these? 16 issues of Good Old Days magazine from the 70s. And just different issues. It says it's photos, poems, cartoons, songs, illustrations of the happy days gone by. And of course, this being from the 70s, stuff that's in here is really old. That sold for $36, free shipping. Of course, magazines cannot be sent media mail, along with comics and similar things. Anything that newspapers, anything that has advertising in it, cannot be sent media mail, so those will have to be shipped. Ground Advantage, probably be around $13-ish to ship those. Quantity listings, I love them. Ever you can find them when you're outsourcing, and it makes sense, something that sells, something that isn't too expensive, pick them up if you can. I've paid 5 cents each for all of these. I think this is my 8th one to sell. This antique furniture casters. Antique is like the coloring on it, not that these are antiques. $20.90, free shipping. Costs around $6 to ship those. So every one of those, I basically have $14 or so of net sales after fees and shipping, and I spent 5 cents on them. So I love that. It doesn't take up any room. One of my favorite things to come across are quantity listings. Here's my second round of magazines. I picked up this big, huge box of these Reason magazines. Also, coincidentally, from the 70s. Not the same buyer, 2 different buyers. But these are old libertarian magazines. And I separated them out. The whole year of 1976, all 12 issues, sold for $39.99, free shipping. Similar, maybe about, $10, $11 to ship. So I have 3 or 4 other lots listed, all for $40 each. I don't know why the person just decided to choose the 1976 year, but anyway, those are the ones that sold. Maybe they were born in 1976. I don't know. That was a pretty decent sale. Paid about $1 for that lot. Right around $1. I have a whole bunch that I haven't listed. Probably should just either donate or I don't know. I didn't want to flood the market with a ton of these magazines because they are not huge sellers. I think I've had them listed for about 2 months, and that was the first one to sell. But anyway, good to go. Good to go on that. $1 or so into about $28, $29 after shipping. Pick these up. These are some American Eagle jeans. Pick these up at the Goodwill outlet. These are like a higher end version of American Eagle jeans. These are the classic selvage, Selvedge. I think they're higher end. Don't quote me on that. Paid about $2.50 for those. And those are men's jeans. They sold for $20 plus shipping. I think I had those listed for a long time. Not positive. I think maybe quite some time. I can't remember. Those actually might be. I think they are. Yes. So the issue with these is I had this pair of jeans listed for months and months and months, and I somehow when I went to do the listing, only one photo showed up. All the other photos that I tried to add weren't included in the listing, and it was just a photo of the back of the jeans. I had multiple people reach out to me and say, hey, can you send me something other than the back of the jeans? And I just never got around to it, but I finally did. And lo and behold, about a month later, they sold. Amazing! Things will sell so much faster when you actually have photos. Crazy, I know. Picked this up for $1. Wasn't a huge seller, but I think it's light enough that I can send it first class or under £1. It's a soft-sided Carhartt lunchbox. Carhartt soft-sided lunchbox. Like I said, paid $1. Sold for $21.99. Not even close. $20.69, free shipping. Hopefully can ship that for about $6 or $7. So not a spectacular moneymaker, but it sold very quickly. I listed that right before I went on vacation, so maybe 3 weeks ago. I love this pocket system because almost all the stuff that I put in here sells quickly. I have another thing that sold. This right here. This is super cool. I picked this up for $0.25, and I contemplated keeping it for about 10 seconds after I comped it. This is from the 1964-65 New York World's Fair. I hope that comes through clearly. This is what's called a daily dime bank. And right there it's got a slot for a dime. And then you can see maybe it says there's a little dial there that says Sunday, and right now it says $0. You put in, I think, a month's worth of dimes, so it'll show after a month there's $3 or $3.10 or however many days there are. Cool graphic, beautiful, nice, very good condition. Just a little bit of scratching on the top there. $35.99 plus shipping. I sent out an offer for 10% off of $40, and the person accepted it. So really good flip, 25 cents into 36. Very quickly, also listed just recently before going on vacation. This item doesn't have a SKU, but I'm assuming it's with all my other books, and it is on the shelf here. Picked this up for $2 at an estate sale. Same estate sale that I got all the Milwaukee tools that I still have not sold very many of. This is a Volkswagen official service manual for a station wagon bus. 1968 through 1978. These are really good sellers if you happen to find them. Sold very quickly, $26.99 plus shipping on that. One of the better service manuals out there that I have found. I think all the shoes that I sold, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Oh, maybe not the Brooks, but for sure 4 out of the 5, and maybe 5 out of the 5 shoes that I sold today are women's shoes. And I bring that up because I was looking at my sales over the past month, and I have actually sold almost 50% more women's shoes than men's shoes. This is a pair of MBT Mahuta sneakers, or like walking sneakers. You can kind of see that shape on there. I don't know why people like these. These are relatively popular. They are heavier than heck. I think that would be really uncomfortable to try and walk around in those. But they seem to be relatively good sellers. Took a bit of time to sell these. Not too long, about 2 months. Colorway is a little odd. Picked those up for I'm guessing probably around anywhere from $5 to $8. I can't remember exactly how much they were, but those sold for $34.99, free shipping. Not great, but still a pretty quick sale and pretty good profit. I sold it. I forgot. There's another pair of women's shoes that sold. But first, before that, try to go quickly through these because I want to show you some things that I bought over the weekend, and then at the end I'm going to go over a bunch of real small, low-dollar items that sold for me. Because I just want to show everything that sold while I was on vacation. There's still a big sale that I'm running, which means a lot of stuff is going for cheap. And rather than bore you with all the details on it, I just want to kind of rapid fire through those at the end, but I don't want this video to be super, super long. This I picked up for $2.50 at the thrift store. It was on 75% off, I think. Or maybe it was only $5 originally. These are cool. These are called litter quitters, and this is new in the package. It is literally a system where you put this on your toilet and you train your cat to go to the bathroom in your toilet rather than a litter box. That's why it's called the litter quitter. Ooh, almost lost it. I almost fell over. Stay. That sold for $49.99, free shipping. That will be an item that I put in, wrap it in a bunch of small bubble wrap, and then put it in a very large poly mailer, so it won't be too bad to ship. I used to be super nervous and scared of shipping those big, oddly shaped items. But this method seems to work pretty well. And like I said, that sold for $50, free shipping, probably be about $15 to ship it. So $2.50 into $35. Not too shabby. Last item of this round, and then we'll go into what I purchased and what a bunch of other little things that sold for me. It's actually the second time I've sold these. These were returned because they were too small. A pair of Ultra running shoes. Pretty nice condition. Paid $9.99 for these. These are the Via Olympus running shoes by Ultra. Size 6, I believe. So pretty small. Not even close. 7.5. They just seem small. Size 7.5, so not too bad. And those sold for $33.74 plus shipping. So I've got five of the six pairs of shoes that I sold were women's shoes. So I don't think it's because I've bought any more women's shoes than men's. In fact, I almost always buy more men's shoes than women's, but it might be a sign. It might be an indicator that women's shoes are selling better than men's right now. Could be something, might not be. I don't know. To be continued. And now on to what I bought over the weekend. Wanted to go over some of the finds that I had this past Friday, right after I got back. Maybe it was Saturday. It was Saturday. I went a little crazy when it came to some 90s nostalgia, so that was exciting. Also had a situation at a yard sale where, it happens. It is what it is. Just frustrating when people are jerks or their behavior is kind of outrageous. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. But let's go over what I found. So quite a nice little haul of things. Spent probably around $400 for it all. Some of it was very good, and some of it just okay. Found a couple of vintage ping putters. Not all ping putters are good, but this was at the sale where I kind of ran into kind of a jerk, and I don't blame him for the end result. Like the ends probably was the right way. It was probably how it should have turned out. Just the means didn't go well. But let's talk about this here first. So this is a Ping B90 putter. It's kind of a long putter, and paid around $10 for that. This one I need to do a little bit more research on. This could be really good. Not entirely sure. This is a Ping Blade putter, and it's really old. Some of these really old ones can be quite valuable. I think I can safely say both of these, pay $10 each for them. Both of these I can pay or get about $200 for, $100 each. The third item that I bought at this sale was a game, like a board game that I decided to keep for myself. Just an old Parker Brothers Formula One game, super cool. It's actually worth about $50. I'll flash a comp up here, but I'm keeping it for myself. I think there was one other thing. I can't find what it was. The bulk of everything else I purchased was at this one sale, and it was. Oh, before I go into this next, let me go into the bad behavior. So I had picked up this 1950s Chevy Bel Air steering wheel. The gentleman running the sale said he was going to ask $20 for it. I have no idea what it's worth. It might be worth a lot more than that. I was planning on keeping it for myself because it just looked really cool. Probably going to hang it up on the wall, unless it was worth like $500, in which case I would have sold it. But he did say that he was holding it for somebody yesterday, but they never came to pick it up, and so he decided to put it out again to be sold. So that's why I picked it up for $20. But I was still looking around, hadn't paid for it yet, and I was holding this big board game. It's probably like a 2.5-foot long board game. I was holding the steering wheel, and I was trying to look at other things. So I set it down next to me and was looking at the stuff on the table. Well, lo and behold, this guy comes up and just grabs it and just starts running or like walking away very quickly. And I said, hey, that's mine. And he said, no, this is mine. He set it aside for me yesterday. And I said, well, yeah, but you aren't here. And he put it out for sale again. I said, it's mine. He said, no, let's talk to the guy. And I said, yeah, let's talk to the guy. Let's just let him decide it. And we talked to the guy, and he said, oh, yeah, I do remember. I did set it aside for him. And like I said, I think it ended up how it should have. The guy running the sale set it aside for him. He did put it out for resale, but the guy did come back and he bought it, and I'm okay with that. If he had just brought money earlier, I wouldn't even have seen it for sale. Of course, I didn't like the fact that he essentially came up and quote-unquote stole it from me. If he had just said, hey, gone to the guy running the sale, or even to me, and just said, hey, he had set it aside for me yesterday, I see you have it now, but I'm here, is there any way that you can have it, or that he can have it? And I would have gladly said yes, absolutely. Other people might have said no, which is what prompted him to maybe just steal it and run away, but anyway, it was a big ordeal, I was like, hey, that's mine, you stole it from me. He said, no, it's not. There was a bunch of people looking, because we were being kind of loud in the middle of the sale. But anyway, hate when that happens. Wish people would just naturally be kind. But whatever, it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. It just wasn't fun. Put a little bit of a damper on the rest of the day, but that's okay. All right, back to this. So, bought a couple of boxes of comics. Not a big comic book seller. The guy that I bought this from, he used to work for Dark Horse Comics. Dark Horse Comics is, I don't know how big they are in the whole grand scheme of the comics, but I think they're probably in the top 5 of comic book publishers. Marvel and DC obviously being the biggest 2. Maybe they're 3rd. I don't know. They're based here in the Portland, Oregon area. And he used to work for them, but he got laid off somewhat recently, just due to the nature of that industry. But so he did have access to a lot of Dark Horse comics. Nothing like special or unique. I've gone through. I don't think he was selling any of the really good ones. This is just stuff that he didn't want anymore. I don't even know what half of this stuff is, but this is Marvel, Star Wars Yoda, Han Solo, and Chewbacca. It'd probably help if I held it up so you could see it. We got Darth Vader, black, white, and red. I think these are small runs, and so this would be like a run of 4. I don't know. It might not be. Not all of it is bagged and boarded, so I do have to do some work to get it ready to ship, although I theoretically could ship it just like this. I don't really want to. There's a ton of Stranger Things comics in here. Dark Horse had the Stranger Things IP. They were able to sell that. A lot of different Star Wars ones in here, which is kind of fun. Here's something called Summer Shadows. A lot of these random Dark Horse comics are not very well known, so I don't know about the resale on those. There's another short box here. This is full of some good stuff. These are all bagged and boarded, so that's nice in here. You can see that, but we've got Void Rivals, Scarlet, a bunch of G.I. Joe, like modern G.I. Joe stuff, and some modern Motu. So I think it's okay. A bunch of Thundercats, modern Thundercats. I think it's okay. I don't know. I think I spent essentially $40 on all these comics. So if I was a whatnot seller, I think that would be where I'd get the bulk of my money. And I might try. I have certain things that I need to start selling on, or I should start selling on whatnot. I have a bunch of vinyl records. I have a bunch of old baseball cards. I have these comic books. Things that would be really good whatnot sellers, but I just am still leery about jumping in. It's not even, I'm not even worried about losing money. I am just worried about doing it wrong. I'm worried about holding a sale and selling some things, shipping them to the wrong places, or just having technical difficulties when I'm trying to run the whatnot show. That's what I'm most worried about, but I got to get over it. I got to get over it and just do it. I probably will pull out some of the best eBay type sellers in here and sell those on eBay, and then the rest hold off and sell on whatnot. But I think there could be as much as $500 worth of comics in here, probably closer to the $200 range, though, if things go as expected. I bought a whole bunch of in the box TMNT things, vintage TMNT. I can't talk. TMN, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle things. But first, I want to go over this little find because he had this box of random action figures and things, and they were all 25 cents each. And there was a ton of it wasn't worth anything. But I pulled out 4, so I spent $1 on these. And I think these 4 things I can sell for $70. This is another, I just sold one of these, or a pair of these in much worse condition. This is a Neko, I think it's Neko, a Predator action figure. I'm not exactly sure when it's from, but this one is in much better condition than the ones I sold, and I think this one can go for $40. These are Tomo Godzilla figures. There's a Mecha Godzilla and just a regular Godzilla figure, and then this guy, I can't remember what his name is, but these usually sell for around $20 free, well, like 15 free shipping, maybe 15 or 20 free shipping. So I think I can lot the 3 of them for $30 plus shipping. Again, I paid $1 for all 4 of them, 25 cents each. Hopefully we'll get approximately $70 for that. So that's pretty good. So I bought all of these, and I spent too much on these. But I think I'll do okay on them. I spent basically $284. I spent $325 total. We had agreed on $40 for the comics, $1 for this, so $284 for all these. I'll start with some of the worst ones. These are cool. I might just end up keeping these for myself. I am not even a huge Godzilla movie fan, but I like Godzilla toys. So these are from a company called Mezco, M-E-Z-C-O. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters. So this is Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, and Anguirus figures. Super high quality. Multiple variants of them in there. You can change heads, you can change body parts. Another one of these. Gorosaurus, King Ghidorah, Manila, and Baragon. New, never played with. Sell-through rate on those, not great. Like really not good at all. 5% kind of a sell-through rate. I could probably list them for, $25 each, and maybe sell them relatively quickly. But these are usually listed in the $60 to $100 range, and there the sell-through rate is terrible. The rest of these are all 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, mostly some figures, some vehicles. This is April, Bride of Frankenstein April, so it's that Universal Studios Monsters crossover. card on it is not spectacular. There's a little bit of water damage on it. Maybe $30, 30 or 40 on this. Also have a mutating April. So these are the two April figures. This is from 93, you can see on there, 1993. This one is also about $30. So we're at 60 there. Here's a mutating Splinter. I think this one is a little bit better, maybe $60, so we're at 120. The Psycho Cannon, really nice box on this. Not a very good sell-through rate, so we're probably looking at maybe 50 or 60 bucks if it will sell. It'll take a while. So now we're at 180. Then we're at the Sewer Seltzer Canyon. This one has a little bit better sell-through rate. Again, probably about 60 bucks. Now we're at 240. And this guy is kind of the cream of the crop, the Wacky Walkin' Mauser. Maybe 340 bucks. So this section was a real bad buy. A real bad buy on that. I was really hoping these Godzilla figures were worth more than they are. I'm probably, honestly, if I'm lucky, I'll sell it all for $400. And I bought it for $280. So that's bad. It's really cool. It was kind of funny at the end of the deal. This guy, he wanted to dicker. He had a sign that said, please dicker with me. I want to practice. He wanted to negotiate, and I tried to negotiate. He didn't really want to negotiate, but he said he did. So originally he wanted $350 for all of it. I said, how about $300? Or I said $300, he said $350, and I said, how about let's meet in the middle of $320? $300, $340, $320. Anyway, we ended up at $325. I can't remember exactly how it went. But that included these as well. The comics and those. So all in, if I hadn't have bought these, I would have felt really good because I would have spent $41 on these, and I bet you I could have as much as $575 worth of stuff. But then I had to ruin it by getting these things, and I don't think holding on to it is going to do any good. I don't think it's going to make it any better. So I think I'm just going to cut my losses and sell it. I loved the cartoon, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, but I was not into the action figures, so not a whole lot of nostalgia for me. Oh, but I forgot to mention, so we had agreed on the $325, and then at the end of it all, he said, after we agreed, he's like, hey, you're not one of those dirty resellers, are you? And, and I had a split second to respond. And I'm not exactly proud of what I did. I'm curious how you would respond, or how do you respond to that question? Most of the time, I say yes right away. If somebody say, hey, are you a reseller? I say, yeah, because it doesn't really matter to me. I don't like hiding who I am. But in this case, first of all, he said a dirty reseller. Most people don't add a caveat to it with like a negative word like that. So I felt like if I risked the deal if I said yes, which in the grand scheme of things might have been a good thing for me because I vastly overpaid on these turtles. My comping might be wrong. That is definitely on the low end. Hopefully that's the lowest I would get for everything. So the deal might be better than I think. But anyway, how would you have responded? Would you have just told the truth? Risked the deal? I wish I had done that. If I could go back, I wish I had, but I panicked. I panicked in the moment, and I said no. And I don't feel great about it, but it is what it is. So we're not going to get into a list of, I'm just going to flash up on the screen some of the lower dollar items that sold for me over vacation. Just some quick boom, boom, boom shots so you can see what sold. I had a lot of lower dollar items sell, which was great because I'm getting rid of them. I don't mind the lower dollar items selling because usually they've been in my inventory for a long time. So let's start with that. All right, so here we go with the lower dollar items. I had a Dyson Mini motorized brush head. Picked this up for $1, sold for $3.74 plus shipping. I have a Thanksgiving turkey banner, flag banner, outdoor flag banner. Picked this up for $1 long time ago, $8.50 free shipping. I had another Subaru keychain sell. This is probably my 5th or 6th one of those, so all profit at this point, $8.99 free shipping. I had I think the last box of hair color that my wife gave me that she didn't need. Last one to sell, $11.90 free shipping. I picked up a bark control dog collar. It was $5 new in the box. Turned out to just be a random Amazon brand, so I sold that for $12.99 free shipping. Basically going to break even with that. Sold a Pendleton shirt, not a wool shirt, so just a random Pendleton, cotton shirt. $8 plus shipping. This is so old, it's on my blue clothing background, which I haven't had for probably a year. So as soon as I saw that it was in that blue background, whatever the offer was, I was going to take it because I just wanted to get rid of it. Sold a Dazzle DVD recorder, VCR, VHS. Basically, it converts your, you connect it to your VCR and then to your DVD player. So if you have a separate VCR and DVD player, I believe somehow it records one to the other. I don't know which way it works. Picked this up for $5, but it turned out to be a random model that is not that good, and that sold for $11.24 plus shipping. I picked up these Keen women's leather sandals a long time ago. I have no idea how much I paid for them. They finally sold for $10 plus shipping. I picked this up for a couple bucks, a Starbucks mug, might even have been $1. Sold for $11.25 plus shipping. And then I sold a vintage Denver Broncos t-shirt. I believe it's from the late 90s. Bought this off of Whatnot for a couple of bucks. Sold for $20, a little less than $20, free shipping. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. I'm glad my burnout is going away. Although after I pack all these orders, it might start coming back. This is not exactly the most enjoyable part of reselling for me, especially when I have all of these lower dollar items. But I need to get to listing, and once I do that, as I mentioned, that's really going to help my higher dollar sales come back. So thanks so much for watching. Thank you to Harley Gal, my member, for supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel below, click join when you click on my page. Thanks again for watching. Please like this video if you did. Subscribe to my channel to get more content like this in the future. Good luck with your ventures out there, reselling or otherwise. We'll catch you on the next video. Take care.